So, welcome to Never Ending Realm. I'm here at Mount Sesta with my good friend Samuel Rivera, and we're going to be talking about news that's happened in the past week. So, what do you think the first news article that we should talk about here is, Samuel? What's the big news, the juicy news?
I think on Monday we did some. I did an article about the sales, how the current generation sales, and how that will affect or forecast what's going to happen uh, come December or November when the new systems arrive.
Yeah.
If if you have read news and everything, the analysts like Michael Patcher and all these people. They believe that PS5 will sell the Series X for about for in a 2-to-1 ratio. Like they're going to sell double the amount. Like if the PS5 sells 100 consoles, Microsoft will sell 50 million.
Yeah,
that was a prediction like a few months ago, and doing the article, it seems like it is a viable prediction to me.
yeah.
Halo Infinite being delayed, being one of the bigger blows that Microsoft could take this year. So I do think it is viable that they will be outsold 2-to-1 or next gen, because right now the article I think touched upon that they are being sold like 6-to-1 at times by Sony. And what's weird is that Microsoft has said that the Xbox One is going to be a viable console for the next 2 to 3 years. So that if you buy an Xbox One right now, you're not wasting your money, because Microsoft will keep supporting the Xbox One for the next year or two or so, and it's still not selling enough. And even the Xbox One S, I think it is at a good price right now, and it has a Blu-ray drive, UHD drive, which is something that the PlayStation 4 can't do. Even the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have an UHD drive. You
Is
can't.
that the one where you can do the ultra high def or the 4K?
Yes, the Pro is the one where you can do the 4K, but you can only do it on games, and I guess you can stream stuff in 4K, but you can't really. It doesn't have a UHD drive, so you can't. If you buy a UHD movie, you can't watch it on it. So the Xbox One X SS offers a cheap UHD Blu-ray player, and even then, it's not selling at all. Like last week, I think they sold like 20,000 units or something like that. It was something very, very.
And that's the lowest level X1 right now. That's still out.
That's the one that's the.
And you said it has a UHD drive?
Yes. So
even though
even though it has those things, and the fact that Microsoft has said that the console will be supported for the next 2 years, it's not selling. So people would rather waste $300 on a PlayStation 4 than that. The PlayStation 4, for all intents and purposes, will be. I don't want to say obsolete, because you can still play PlayStation 4 games, but it's going to be done by the holidays, and people are still buying that system. It's still selling about 140,000 units weekly. So Xbox One S is selling about 20,000 units weekly. So they're being outsold right now 6-to-1, even though the Xbox One S will survive for a year or two, and it does have an UHD drive. So even if you don't play games, even if you don't plan on playing games, you can still watch UHD movies. So I worry about Microsoft in that sense, because it kind of shows that maybe the Series X, without Halo Infinite, without a killer app, it will be outsold by Sony, maybe even at a slightly higher ratio than just 2-to-1. I don't know if you agree with this, but it just seems to be the trend this time. And people will say, oh, the PlayStation 2 sold 152 million units, and the Xbox One sold like 32 million units, so that was a bigger beating. But the momentum, I don't know if you remember, the momentum in 2005 that Microsoft had going for itself, for the brand, for the Xbox brand, was much different. It felt much different than now. Like the original Xbox had a lot of exclusive titles, and there was it had Halo 1, Halo 2. So that was this big, it was gaining fans. Like, it felt like it was gaining people. Like, it was, at that point in time, Microsoft, the Xbox brand felt like it was growing. So it wasn't shocking that the 360 did so well, even though they got such a beating. They took such a beating with the PlayStation 2 in the PlayStation 2 generation. But it doesn't feel like that at all now. Like, it feels like the momentum has been lost. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, it definitely. Everything down from like the color scheme to just the focus of the system to their messaging. It definitely feels like they're not investing the money and advertising that they need to into it. It just seems like another product or another device to Microsoft. And as we all know, the Zune and Windows Phone didn't do very well, even when they were brought under the Xbox brand. Xbox was supposed to be this big hub.
It is interesting because they gain a lot of ground with the 360. Like, the 360 pretty much fought the PlayStation 3 to a standstill. If the PlayStation 3 did sell like 3 million units more, but it was a close battle. Like, and the first half of that generation belonged to the 360. So it is weird how they lost so much momentum. Like, even because of that, going into the Xbox One generation, the only reason the Xbox One sort of, kind of shot itself on the foot was because of that dumb Matrix presentation that really turned a lot of people off. But going into that PlayStation 4 battle, they were still sort of in a better place than they're right now, because it felt like they were in a good place a few months ago. Microsoft was. Like, it really felt like, they have the most powerful console. They're going to have Xbox, Halo Infinite. They might have some other new surprise first party games.
No, the only surprise was Craig.
Yes, that my
and then Phil Spencer saying you should go out and buy a Switch and Animal Crossing.
Yes, that's how things have changed in the last 2 months or so. Because it felt like they were in a good place. Like, they had the best console. They had, even when people made fun of the size of the Xbox Series X, then the PlayStation 5 comes out and it looks like one of those fans, one of those white fans that you hook up to the wall. So even they were in a good place. And then comes the Xbox Series X showcase, and Halo Infinite drops the ball, and it gets delayed, and we have all these issues, and there are no really exclusive games that have been shown. So whatever momentum they had going into this, that it seems to be lost now, and it feels like the PlayStation 5 will sell out, and I'm not sure that that's going to happen with the Series X on the holidays. So they are in a precarious position here if Microsoft and Phil Spencer can't turn the thing around before the holidays. So that was kind of the news. Like, I do think that's what's going to happen here. It's going to be a 2-to-1 thing unless Microsoft really has a great lineup in the second half of this generation, like in 2023 or something like that, and they come out with something that really blows everything out of the water, and it just, it just doesn't feel like it. I don't have a good feeling on it.
Well, you have to think, what does Phil Spencer say? Exclusives are dead. And it's all about Game Pass now.
Well, and that's like, that's a reflection of what might be happening on their company right now. Like, if he has been around to the studios and he knows that there are not going to be any exclusives for the next year or two, of course he's going to downplay that. He's going to downplay the fact that exclusives are important. That's like, if you know that if you're a boxer and you know that you don't have any punching power, well, you're gonna say when they interview you, punching power is overrated. I have speed and I can move around. I don't need punching power, because you don't have punching power. So that might be an admittance. He might be admitting that they don't have any exclusives for the foreseeable future, even though they're having some announcements. But I would be about that if I had $500, which, suppose if $500, if I have $500 laying around and I want to play something different, because the big issue here too is that the PC can play almost everything that the Xbox One can,
Yeah.
and even more because we have the Microsoft Flying Simulator,
Yeah.
which is amazing. That might be the best game that Microsoft has made in the past 10 years. The Flying Simulator, but it's not available on Xbox One, so you can only play it on PC. So what does that tell you? Like, obviously, I think it's going to be on Series X. That might actually be the one exclusive for Series X, but you can play it on PC right now. So there's a lot of things going on here that Microsoft has to kind of fix if they do want the Series X to be successful.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was
2-1 sounds like a little bit generous, unless they really got to get some of their ducks in a row before the holiday season.
It might be. I just think they're going by the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 pattern, and it was 2 for a while, and then suddenly it shifted to like 3-1 and 4-1, and now we're like 6-1 at times. And Nintendo is also a big player here. Like, we don't know what's going to happen when they do, launch the next Switch. We don't know if that's going to dent some people here, because it obviously has hurt Microsoft. Like, they can say, "Oh, we're not competing with Switch," but they are, because if you have $300 and you go to a store, well, and let's say you're one of the PlayStation 4 owners. There's like about 112 million of them right now. So you're looking for a second console. So who are you going to go with? Are you going to go with Nintendo and all of their exclusive stuff, or are you going to go with Microsoft? Because it's going to cost you the same. It's going to cost you $300. So Microsoft is competing with Nintendo, whether they like it or not. They are competing with Nintendo, because people go to the store and they have $300. They have to, do I go with the Switch? Do I go with the Xbox One? Do I go with the UHD drive? Do I go with the portability? It is a battle, but the exclusives are important because Nintendo has nothing going for them except Mario, Zelda.
Super Mario 64. That's the other news.
That's the other news, yes. So to finish this off, Spencer can say whatever he wants, but exclusives are important, because this is why Halo Infinite is such an important title for them, because it is Microsoft. Halo is Xbox, and without that, they're not going to do too well. So we're done with that, and as you say, Super Mario 64.
Yeah,
I think the funny
back again.
Yes, and the funny part about this is that we did the news first that only Pikmin 3 was the only game scheduled for release. That was like a Wednesday news.
Yeah, and then there was the surprise announcement of the Super Mario All-Stars.
Yes, then on Thursday they had the Nintendo Direct, and it was funny because I attacked Nintendo harshly on the article on Wednesday. Like, I was like, Jesus, you have like the greatest library of games ever. Like, you have so many games that you can just remaster. Because I don't know if you agree with me, but this has been the generation of the remasters. This past generation, everything has been remastered, like everything. So why wouldn't Nintendo just freaking remaster like a Zelda or a Mario game, and they can still sell it for $60 and they will sell? So I was questioning, why haven't they done this? And finally, Super Mario 64. So we get it. I don't know. Are you excited about that? Will that sway you to buy a Switch?
Yeah, I mean, we finally get Super Mario 64 with the same textures and the same levels and the same music
and the same
performance. And it's 1080p. 1080p.
It might actually. I have bad news for Mont here.
Oh,
it might actually be 720p. So 720p. It won't matter if you play the Switch portably, because that's all you can do, 720p. But if you play on the TV, it's gonna be a bummer, because I read from Digital Foundry. John Lieberman said that. Is it Lieberman? No, why do I call him Lieberman? Lieberman is the politician. John Lieberman or something. Oh God, I'm not a big fan of his, but I always get his name.
Okay,
still, he said that it was 720p, and get this, it's not gonna get the boost to 60 frames per second. It's just gonna run at 30 frames per second, like it did back in the day. So we're not getting we're not getting an improvement besides the resolution boost to 720p. So there's no difference. That's disappointing because some of the hackers out there have created homebrew versions of the game that actually runs at 1080p and 60 frames per second. So why can't Nintendo do this? I don't know. But Mario Sunshine is also part of the package.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't played that actually. So,
and that might be the big selling point for a lot of people. And that's also running at 720p, I believe, and 30 frames per second again, unfortunately. And then Mario Galaxy, which is one of the greatest Mario games ever made. If you have a Switch Lite, you're going to have to buy Joy-Cons, I heard, because Mario Galaxy uses the motion controls. So you're not going to be able to play it with the standard controls.
Unless they rework them.
But it seems that they won't. It seems that they won't rework that title. Like, you're going to need the joysticks.
Oh, okay.
I think this is straight. These are straight ports. They really didn't make any efforts.
Nintendo.
Yes, only in resolution, and it's going to cost $59.99. It's going to run you $60. And the other thing is, if you buy it online and not the physical copies, the physical copy is going to be a limited edition. There's only going to be only a few copies made. So you better go to Walmart or whatever you have to go and try to get it if you want to get it. If you go on the online, if you download the online one from the eShop, which is what I might do, you might be screwed by March 2021 because for some reason Nintendo's going to pull it out of the eShop by then. And that might mean that if your Switch gets stolen
why would they be pulling it from the eShop then?
I don't understand that. That baffles the mind. The only sensible theory that I can come up with is that there is a Super Mario 64 remake on the works, and they want you to buy that.
So you're gonna buy this one and then also that one as well? Gosh, they're just like really milking the fans here at this point.
Yes, I don't understand. That would be a nice thing to complain about, or maybe write a petition to Nintendo. Why would they pull this out of the store? Because that means that if you lose it, or if your SD card gets damaged, if you save it to the SD card, and it's no longer in the store, you won't be able to re-download the game. So you pay $60 and you lost your $60. That's crazy. Because that's just I don't understand that. But apparently that's what's going to happen. But the only theory that I have for this is that they have something coming up, like a Super Mario 64 remake, like an actual remake with. Well,
I think they just need to already make Super Mario 64 2 already. Just like make a sequel.
You know that used to be. I have read some articles that used to be Nintendo had that on the cards back in the day, but it was canned. Now we got Mario Sunshine, and then we get Galaxy and all the games. But I mean, it is a good thing that we're getting these games. But if you're gonna pay $60 for these games, I think Nintendo should have done a better effort to improve the games, like really improve the games, and just have on the eShop forever. Because it just gives you peace of mind. Like, I pay $60, and if whatever happens, I just log into my account 2 years from now, and I can still download the game again, which is what you can do on Sony and you can do on Microsoft. I still Nintendo is like still back.
Yeah, there's like they're just really behind on their marketplace and their online services. It's been a wreck since the Wii days, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what is the other kind of big news this week? What was really popular on the Facebook was Chrono Trigger. I didn't realize you had so many Chrono Trigger fans out there.
Yeah, that was a throwback for Thursday. Well, our fan base is kind of RPG kind of aficionados and RPG lovers. So I think if we were to make the article, it was just kind of remembering the game, and if I were to pick the best RPG of all time, and I said, guys, the best RPG of all time is Final Fantasy VII, I was gonna get a lot of people. Yes, that's exactly that face. Yeah.
No, you've been taking your crazy pills again.
Yes. That's the exact face that I would get from a lot of fans, because the Final Fantasy VI crowd will say, "Oh no, you bastard! You don't know what you're talking about. Final Fantasy
Yeah.
VI is the biggest Final Fantasy game ever, and the
Well,
greatest RPG." But if you pick Final Fantasy VI, you're gonna get the other crowd saying, "Oh no, you bastard! The Final Fantasy VI isn't the greatest game ever." But if you say Chrono Trigger, everybody stays quiet. Like Chrono Trigger, it's difficult to argue against Chrono Trigger. I don't know if you agree with this, but it's very difficult to argue
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
against the
it's
great.
just I've never played Chrono Cross, so I can't really talk about that. But as a standalone game, I would say Chrono Trigger is definitely up there with Final Fantasy 6 and 7 and 10. Um, I mean, you can put it against any RPG, and it's just got such a great story and beautiful art style and battle mechanics and everything.
It is one of those games that you can still pick up today and just play it, and it's still great.
Yeah.
Like if you play if you play a lot of the 2D games that you have on the eShop and on the cell phones and Android and stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of crap compared to
they look like
Chrono
crap.
Trigger. Yeah. And the story isn't as good. It's still like a 9 out of 10 even today. Even just a straight port would be, yeah.
And part of the reason is that really that was the golden age of the 2D graphics even. Like by the time that the Super Nintendo was about to leave the market, there were some really good games, like in two-dimensional games, like the graphics.
Yeah.
It was perfect. They had perfected that art at that point in time. And Chrono Trigger just the timelines, the multiple endings, the multiple quests, the multiple things that you can choose to do or not to do, and it changes how it ends.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's been done. Something like that has been done afterwards in the JRPG genre in general. I think that might be the peak of JRPG gaming, if we're gonna be honest.
Yeah, which brings us to the next thing, which was Ubisoft coming out and saying you would not be able to play the PS1 version of Chrono Trigger on your PS5.
We got a lot of angry faces in the Facebook.
Yeah.
And also, they're angry at me for throwing dirt on the PS5, or are they angry
I don't know. Let us know in the comments, guys. Are you mad
at me for?
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
It's Sony who hasn't invested enough in backwards compatibility. You know, I have PS3 games I can't play, which I bought on the PlayStation Store. And yeah, I mean, I can't play them on a PS4 right now, and I won't be able to play them on a PS5 right now. But I can, if I had bought the same games on Xbox, I'd be able to play them right now on my Xbox One.
And probably enhanced.
Yeah.
You will get enhancements from Microsoft.
Exactly.
So Sony, for all the good things that we've said about them and that they are going to outsell Microsoft again because they do have the exclusives, their customer service sort of sucks. I'll be honest with you. They have no, and it's funny because they were the pioneers of this backwards compatibility thing. When the PlayStation 2 came out and you play PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah, but they had a whole PlayStation 1 on the... Like, they physically emulated. They didn't emulate it. They actually had a whole freaking PlayStation 1.
And the same thing happened with the early models of the PlayStation 3. That thing was cut off in the slim models because they didn't want to they want to cut the costs because it was.
Well, they were like $700 or something.
Yeah, it was costly to have the hardware in order to play those games. But the fact of the matter is that they actually did do this. They were the pioneers, and it was nice to be able to buy a console and to be able to play your old library. And in all cases, the PlayStation 2 could actually smooth out the graphics for the PlayStation 1 games. Like there's a mode that you could just take away the pixelation, so everything looked kind of smoother.
Yeah.
So they were the pioneers, and then they kind of abandoned this halfway through the PlayStation 3 life cycle, and they never came back to it. And Microsoft took advantage of this, and they created sort of a system where you could play. Right now, you can play pretty much almost every Xbox One, every original Xbox, every 360 game, every game that that came before it on the Xbox One. And maybe if you could get some enhancements there and some enhancements on the Xbox One X. And that's going to continue to the Series X because Microsoft is making a big marketing push with this. So I thought that Sony would make a bigger effort to get at least PS3 games on the PlayStation 5. But according to Ubisoft, it is right now impossible for it to happen. They were forced to pull this comment out of their site by Sony after a few hours. So maybe Sony is working on some sort of emulation or something, or some sort of
They're
update.
mad that it's a news article, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
it doesn't confirm or deny.
Yes, no. But if I was a betting man, I would say I wouldn't hold my breath for it, because they have abandoned that for like about a decade now. They have abandoned backwards compatibility. So
Yeah.
and it is a bummer. And you know, that might be one of the reasons why I might upgrade to the Series X eventually, backwards compatibility. So there you go. Microsoft has a good thing going for them in that sense.
Yeah.
And the other news, last ones, was about Peter Moore. Peter Moore, some comments a few months ago or came out to light about why he left Sega, and it sort of happens that he had a big argument with Sony's creator, and Sony's creator actually banged the table. And can we curse here? And
yeah,
Peter Moore.
let's avoid cursing, but yeah,
Peter Moore said "f off," like "f you," like the "f off."
Yeah.
And he told the Japanese interpreter, "Can you tell him that I said that he can f off?" And the Japanese guy was like, "Oh, there's not a phrase for that in Japanese." And Peter Moore said like, "Oh, that's bull, because I know there is," and he left. He left the meeting and he quit Sega about a month after that. And this all happened in 2000, from 2002, December 2002 to January 2003. And then Peter Moore went to Microsoft, and he oversaw a large part of the Xbox lifecycle and the Xbox 360 launch, which arguably remains the golden era of Microsoft. I mean, of Xbox right now. So the man knows what he's talking about. And the source of the argument was that Sega was behind the times, and he went and he recorded some kids, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, with a video, and he told them, "What do you think of Sega, as a brand?" And they said that it was like their granddad, who once was cool, but now, didn't remember why he was cool. And he showed this to the Sega executives, and Yuji Naka, Sony's creator, apparently got very angry about this, saying that Sega was a great brand and that nobody would say this about Sega. I think he was very disconnected with reality, because the fact of the matter is that Peter Moore was right. Grand Theft Auto 3 was a big deal.
Yeah.
Then and even Sega later on, their biggest success has been Yakuza, which is a very violent, mature game, because Shenmue didn't really do well. People love Shenmue, but Shenmue was a flop, like a commercial flop. Like, it really made them lose millions of dollars.
Yeah, so, Shenmue 2, you mean?
Shenmue 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But Shenmue the most. So I don't know if you agree with Peter Moore, but I think the man, he went to Sega, he told them the truth. They didn't want to hear it, so he left for Microsoft.
Yeah, and Sega doesn't make hardware anymore, so.
Yeah, but at that point, it wasn't about hardware. At that point, Sega had already quit the Dreamcast.
Oh, had they? Okay.
Yes, and he was trying to get them to make more mature games because they were falling behind everybody else. And he just went there and told them, you guys, you have to do something like Grand Theft Auto or something along those lines, or we're going to fall behind. And they didn't want to. And if you think about it, what has Sega done apart from Yakuza, at least in that era, that was great? Because the Sonic games, they have been pedestrian for the most part.
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter is not even popular anymore. And the whole fighting genre, to be honest, is not popular anymore. But
yeah, it's pretty much just Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. It's kind of...
Yes. So Sega kind of lost some of the... At one point, they were bought by Sammy, too. Then they go broke, even after they quit the hardware business, and they had to be bought out by Sammy or something in Japan.
Yeah.
That looks like a big deal for them. But no, Peter Moore is a nice guy. So if Peter Moore is watching this video, we would like to do an interview with you, because I think you're one of my idols, to be honest.
Oh, geez.
Yes. Yes, but I do feel he has a lot of historical knowledge that I would want to ask him about stuff and pick his
Yeah.
brains. So I guess we should move to what now? To the meme of the week or something?
Oh yeah, we're supposed to be doing a meme of the week. We can just cut the video, but do you wanna send me what the meme of the week was? What was the meme of the week? I don't even know.
It was. I mean, we had a couple of popular ones. We had the RPG one. It actually got kind of popular after a while. The one where we compared the Western RPGs to the Japanese RPGs. And,
Oh yeah.
And is that true, Mont? Do you think it's true?
It's definitely a possibility.
You think Final Fantasy VIII screwed how we look at heroes these days? And the other one was the Switch meme.
Oh yes, that is true.
With the Switch?
Yeah. I think I think the Switch one might have won it.
Yeah, that was I mean, it makes complete sense. It is a Switch. I mean, you order a Switch and you get a Switch.
I swear, if that happened to me, I would. Yeah, I think the close second would have been the PlayStation 2 meme.
With the greatest console and
yeah, that really hit me right in the feels.
A lot of people agree with that, and sorry, I can't agree with that. Hate me all you want, but the Xbox was superior. It was superior to me.
Oh yeah, in your article, you even have an article about it.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I love my PlayStation 2. I loved it, but if it wasn't for the RPGs, like what else was there? I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, I guess, and God of War. But other than that, the Xbox had the first-person shooters. It had the Western RPGs. It had Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah,
it had a lot of things that that Sony just couldn't do. And it was the best multi-platform console because you got to play all the games that the PlayStation could do with better performance and better graphics. So
indeed.
But I do get that the PlayStation 2 was loved because it was the RPG, the JRPG console of the time, and
if you've been watching this far to the end of the video, put what your favorite console was in there. Yes. PlayStation 2 or original Xbox or whatever it was.
Everyone's going to say the original Xbox. Yes, no one.
I don't know. I mean, I love original Xbox, but even I don't know if I can. That's a hard one for me. But I think we should wrap it up now. We're past the 30-minute mark.
Oh God!
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you visit neverendingrealm.com. Check out our Facebook, facebook.com/neverendingrealm. Twitter, we're NER Games, Nerd Games. And then you can also find us on YouTube. So make sure to like, follow, subscribe to all our channels. Make sure you click like on this video and share. Tell your friends. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for this week here. Could you think of anything else, Sam?
No, I think that covered everything. Except that, I'm going to be hated because of that my comment below. Well,
Oh well. You're doing good. When some of the fans have a strong opinion about something you say. But and we'll be back again next week. And so take care, everyone, and goodbye.